The temporary alliance between the Shadow Collective and the Death Watch created unrest on the planet of Mandalore as they sought to take over the rule from Duchess Satine. Having weakened the pacifist ideology of the Duchess, the criminal syndicates arrived to imprison her as Viszla betrayed Maul to take Mandalore for himself. But as per Mandalorian tradition, Viszla is forced to accept an offer for a duel from Maul, and his subsequent defeat enabled the Zabrak to place the former Prime Minister Almec to be his puppet, before manipulating the people into believing that Satine had murdered Viszla, which reduced the reputation of the Duchess to nothing. The occupation of the planet seemed to have fallen under the criminal syndicates, but following the death of Viszla, the Death Watch split up, and led by Bo Katan, they rescue the Duchess from her imprisonment. Their joy is short-lived, as they are shot to the floor by the Mandalorian Super Commandos, and Satine managed to scramble a transmission to the Jedi Council before she is captured again. The Jedi argue over their ability to intervene in the affairs of the neutral planet, but Obi-Wan compromises by taking the Twilight to save Satine. But what if Anakin had joined him in his quest to save Satine? Would they be able to save her from Maul? As you're going to find out, Anakin's intervention could have changed the life of Obi-Wan. The Jedi stood around the holotable, watching as Satine's desperate pleas faded, with her capture by Maul's forces. Obi-Wan knows the Senate cannot know any kind of rescue, but he couldn't just stand by and watch Satine fall at Maul's blade. The Jedi Master is about to leave the room, when Anakin Skywalker sprinted into their vicinity. Yoda is concerned that having another Jedi could draw more attention to their intervention, but Obi-Wan knows he needed his Padawan to defeat Maul and Savage. The Jedi enter into their rusty freighter, and rather than using stealth to bypass the port officials, Anakin simply ran his lightsaber through the neck of the Mandalorian commando before equipping its armour. Obi-Wan then ordered his Padawan to stay aboard the ship and prepare for a quick getaway as he rescued Satine. The Jedi Master found his disguise to be working well, and he freed the Duchess from the confines of her cell and then snuck past the Mandalorian soldiers to the exterior of the prison complex, where Anakin was waiting for them. The Jedi Knight fired the heavy blasters of the commandos, who had just been alerted of the escape of the Duchess, and the Jedi safely escort Satine away from the planet, then back to the safety of Coruscant. The Jedi know that they cannot be detected, and ask Satine to go to the Senate building to explain the events that had taken place. The closest encounter with death, and the change in ruler of her own planet, had made her realise that her pacifism could not work anymore, so she asked for the Senate to intervene, much to the surprise of the Jedi. But as the planet was not under any threat from the Separatists, rather a criminal syndicate, Palpatine cannot advocate for the intervention of the Grand Army of the Republic, so he decided to place the situation in the hands of the Jedi. Palpatine knew that the Jedi would want to intervene, but before they could do so, he decided to show those on Mandalore who the real Dark Lord of the Sith was. The Sith Lord landed his ship outside of the palace doors, and after force choking any guards that stood in his path, he found the two Zabraks looking smug at their new position of power. Sidious casually lifted them both into the air and threw them across the room, coldly uttering that they could only be two Sith, and warned them for the final time that they could not oppose him any further. Sidious casually turned upon his feet and disappeared, just as the Jedi of Obi-Wan Kenobi, Anakin Skywalker and Ahsoka Tano walked in, and found the brothers recovering from the attack made by the Dark Lord of the Sith. The presence of Obi-Wan made Maul get to his feet quicker than Savage, and as they stood on the opposite sides of the throne room, the Jedi asked for the identity of the attacker. Maul cackled so loudly that the windows of the throne room cracked, and he mockingly told the Jedi that they had been blinded for years, before carrying his brother out of the open area. The Jedi are about to chase him, but Maul had already escaped with his commandos and remaining members of the Shadow Collective. The escape of Maul had allowed for Satine to repair the planet and her reputation, but with the obvious support of the Jedi, Mandalore was now involved in the war. As the Jedi completed their rudimentary checks of the planet to search for any fugitives left behind, they received a message from Grandmaster Yoda reporting that the Jedi Temple hangar had just been bombed, but the Jedi are unwilling to leave Satine unprotected. The Jedi decide that Ahsoka should protect Satine until they had discovered the cause of the bombing, so Anakin and Obi-Wan return to proceed with the investigation. The Jedi are immensely suspicious, as the supply of the nanodroid's letter Termund asked for Ahsoka, but without the time for her to return, a hooded Anakin entered into a cell on his own, with Obi-Wan secretly waiting in the background. The Jedi Knight could sense someone trying to mask their Force presence in the shadows, and igniting his blade, he saw a masked figure scurrying away. Obi-Wan is able to comfortably block the Jedi Barriss Sophie from her escape, and placing her on trial for her crimes, they had inadvertently saved themselves from a horrible fate for the moment. That is it for part 1 of What If Anakin Joined Obi-Wan in Saving Satine. If you'd like to see a part 2 soon, please like this video, turn on the notification bell, click that subscribe button on this channel, as well as on my other channel What If Films. And as always, leave a comment on what if you'd all like to see next, and how I can improve my videos. Thank you all very much for watching, and see you next time.